family. This is Pastor James Johnson at the Apocalypse Seventh-day Adventist Church with a small message that previews the larger one that we're going to be speaking on this coming Sabbath, August 20th. I have this little painting, or drawing rather, here. This is in my mom and dad's house. And this here, that's my great-grandfather. This is my great-great-grandmother. That's my great-great-grandfather. And they traveled through the wilderness, if you will, in a covered wagon. They went through tough times. They went through times that I know they must have felt very alone, very like they were just in trouble. Like maybe they felt from week to week that it may not get to the next week even. I'll be talking about Psalm 90. And what I've titled this is The Great Understanding. Basically, understanding who God is, and by comparison, who we are, and what's the bridge. When we realize that Moses was the one that actually wrote this particular song, and scholars feel like he probably wrote this during the wilderness experience with the children of Israel. And they've gone through so many ups and downs in their experience, and he himself has gone through so many ups and downs in his experience. And at some point when he's writing this, he, along with the rest of the community, they feel like they are being punished. And to some degree they are. They feel like they're being punished. They feel like they are in the lowest of lows. And he writes this psalm, and we understand. He seems to want to understand who God is, who we are, and what's the bridge between the two. And there seems to be a bridge in that contemplative question or request of God. Teach us to number our days is in the middle of it. You know, when we understand that God is infinite, and he is infinitely powerful, and he's infinitely loving, and he's infinitely just. When we realize that we are finite, when we are powerless, when we are without God sinful, we realize there's an enormous gap between the two. Moses seems to indicate here that there is a bridge, and that bridge is understanding also that God's power and God's love and God's justice brings us back together. And ultimately, where that happens is at the cross. It's with Jesus, who bridged the gap between us and God. And ultimately, there is a bridge to infinity for us too, and for them, in Jesus, and in the hope of his return, because someday we're going to be with God forever. And that is his restoration of everything he intended. That's the bridge back, if you will, to what he intended at the very creation. So we're going to be discussing that tomorrow. Hope that you can be there. God bless. Have a great weekend.